I've been asked many times about how do I feel my emotions? How can I be more aware of my emotions? I use the word feel because some people are like, it's difficult sometimes, like if you haven't had enough time or somebody talk with you about this, it's difficult to understand and put a finger on what are emotions and what does it mean to feel. But it's quite literally felt, the emotion is quite literally felt in the body, but it's felt in a different way. It's not like external feel, it's like an internal feeling. But many people ask me like, okay, what can I do to be more aware of my emotions? To be more aware of my anger, or my fear, my sadness, my happiness, my resentment, my ecstasy, my peace, my suspicion, all this. It's different things that, if we're aware of all of them, we can become really powerful. The emotions are our way of expressing that the unconscious has for us. So when we read our unconscious through these emotions, we have access to some information that we don't understand, but we feel. So it's important to have them and to feel them. You know, the gut feeling, it has some merit. We don't know which is the merit, but it has, you know. The merit can be, sometimes it's like, it can be totally, it can be one way or another, but it has merit very much because it helps us make decisions. And how we feel about something or some person tells a lot about the story of us with that person, or the story of us, you know, the story of me, of how I feel in certain situations, and these situations, how they arise, if they arise with this person, very much. So that's for understanding emotions. Like the first step I would take, it's just see myself with emotions and see where do I feel them, you know, like in events, in particular events, like when I fought with my father, where did I feel that? You know, did I feel angry? Was it in top of my head? You know, I feel the anger here a lot. Then if I feel afraid, if something was like scaring me to death, you know, like, okay, I don't want to just be in the streets, let's say, you know, I don't want to be kicked out of my house. That fear, where I felt it? In my stomach, in my lower stomach, yes, you know. So get familiar with that, because then if I feel something in my stomach and I'm just talking about something and I feel that, you know, and then I feel like, oh, something is not right, I can point to that. I can see, okay, it's that emotion, it's that fear, it's kicking in. I don't know why yet. Most of the emotions are triggered, and we're triggered, but that all the triggers and all the reasons stay in the unconscious. We don't know yet. That's why it's important to understand our emotions. After we have them, understand them, why. But the first step, it's accessing to them, it's being aware of them. Through the body, it's one great way to access them, to be aware of them. So then, after I feel fear, I say, okay, I feel fear. Why is that? What in the situation is triggering that? Oh, it's because I have had bad experiences when talking to somebody, when doing, I don't know, we're doing acrobatics, when moving, because I feel, because I'm clumsy in my body, my movement. Okay, That's reasonable. Then when I'm aware of that, then I'm like, oh, okay, it takes the edge of it. If I'm aware of my fear, yes, I can totally handle that. Because now I'm like, okay, I'm aware of this. This is part of my body. It's part of my emotions, how I feel. It's no biggie. I've felt this before. I've dealt with this before. And then after I understand it, I can relate with it in a different way. Because when I understand something, the circuits in my mind change completely. It changed from like something uncertain, like, and that things in the mind are not processed and are awfully, they block a lot of the processing. It turns into something that I'm aware of, which turns on my processing really fast, and like I can access the tools to deal with that. So through understanding, I gain the power to handle that and be more resourceful when the emotion comes. So that's why, and to practice this. Okay, when I was in this situation, I feel this contraction in my body, and there's basically two like adaptive movements. It's like contraction and expansion of the muscles. So, try to read that and in which place. And generally, when you have the same emotion, the same places will contract or expand. When I'm afraid, I feel it in my stomach, and those muscles under my stomach contract, and I feel light in my stomach. I feel my stomach is gonna turn upside down. That's fear. I felt that when I was in the roller coasters, but it's the same fear, even though it's different causes. One is caused by the risky situation I'm in, and the other is like because I'm thinking that I have a risk in my future. Maybe this person wants to harm me. Maybe this person wants to like do something bad to me. So that's things are where we. So put yourself. So as an exercise, okay, put yourself imaginary in those situations where you have an emotion. Say anger, fear, happiness, peace, felt love, felt connection, felt ecstasy, felt a blockage, frustration. Think about one situation where you felt that. Feel your body. Where in your body that memory it's bringing a contraction or expansion. You can feel the contraction. If you can't talk, probably there's some muscles contracting your throat. If you feel light in your stomach, probably it's contracting your stomach. If you feel like, fear sometimes closes the chest because we want to be in a defensive position for any risk that may approach us. So if you feel like contracted in the chest, when did you feel that? If you feel expanded, the muscles expanded in your back and in your chest, probably you felt really safe in a situation where you feel that muscles expanded. So see the situation, understand what the emotions and what the contractions are telling you. Are they putting you in a defensive position, protecting you? Are they putting you in a low energy situation where you're like, probably it's telling you to avoid this situation, because if it drops your energy, probably it's telling you like, don't go there, this is bad. It slows you down, so you can't do it. You can't do anymore. It puts you like in a, sedated situation. Most of the sedated situations in the body is because something's wrong happening and the body is trying to slow down. So that whatever it's preparing for, like saving the, it's saving you. It's warning you. It's a warning when the body is sedated. And then it's try to understand why do you feel that emotions. What's telling you? If the emotion could talk, what is it telling you? Is it telling you to run away, not to go in there, to enjoy it? You know, if it's such a happy moment, so joyful, you know, so full of energy, is it your body telling? Bring more of that. Enjoy. Have more of that. You know, I want more of this. That's what emotions tell you. They are chemicals, so they're addictive. So if it feels good, there must be something good in them. And if it feels bad, there's a warning to it. You know, try to think about it and analyze what judgments and beliefs bring that emotion. Because it's not only about the emotion is key, but it's brought by also thoughts of beliefs and judgments that make a reality. You know, if I believe I can do something, then when I'm going to do it, I'm afraid because I don't want to do it. You know, it's wrong in my belief system. So that's when the beliefs condition the reality, because they condition our emotions. So I offer you this exercise. Take some time every day. Probably analyze a situation, like, you know, a situation from a long time ago, or just like from a little while ago, and just go like, okay, I felt like this, I felt like that. What does it say about me? What does it say about what beliefs I have in this situation? Where do I feel in the body? You know, the emotion. How can I connect with this emotion? If this emotion could talk, what would it say? And then understand it, accept it, and, you know, do a little of this every day and see how it goes. Take care, my friend.